Hey friends, so today's lesson is actually over reflections on the coordinate plane. So if you don't know how to graph points on the coordinate plane, please go watch the graphing on the coordinate plane video lesson that's in Canvas under Module 2. But if you have, then let's just jump right in. So reflections on the coordinate plane is just like a mirror image. You're mirroring points on the coordinate plane across the x and y axis. So here are the steps. I've kind of got them written out for you. First step is to graph a point on the coordinate plane. So if we look at example 1, it gives us a point, so let's just use that. We're going to reflect the point negative 4, 2 over the y-axis. So negative 4, 2. So we're going to go over to negative 4 because we start with our x first, and then up to positive 2 because that is our y-coordinate. So this is our point, and example 1 tells us we are reflecting over the y-axis, and that's what step 2 asks us to figure out. So we're going over the y-axis, which means that we want to jump over the y-axis. Okay, we're jumping over the y-axis. Step 3 says to decide how many spaces your point is away from that reflecting axis. So before we can jump over, we have to figure out how many steps it takes to get there. So if we count it out, 1, 2, 3, 4. It would take us 4 steps to just get to the y-axis. Step 4 says to count the same distance on the opposite side of the reflecting axis and plot the new reflected point. So we've got to go 4 spaces before we can jump over. So that's what we're going to do on this side. We're going to go 4 spaces, and then we jumped over and made it. So this is our new point, and I'll actually do it in a new color. So this is our new point, and I asked you to label it point A. So we went from here, and then we reflected over the y-axis by jumping 4 spaces to 0, and then we jumped the other 4 spaces out into quadrant 1. So now let's just do example 2. We'll use some new colors. Use red. So reflect the point 3, 5 over the y-axis. Actually, let's do the x-axis. 3, 5. So let's go over 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is how we plot our points on the coordinate plane. So now we have to figure out which axis that we are reflecting over. And I just told you we're reflecting over the x-axis, so we're trying to jump over this axis right here. We're jumping over this axis to get down here somewhere. So the first thing we have to do is decide how many spaces our point is away from the reflecting axis. So if this is where we're reflecting it over, if this is what we're trying to jump over, I need to figure out how many spaces it takes to get there. So let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes us 5 spaces to get to our reflecting axis. So now we have to do that same thing on this side, on our reflecting side. So let's count 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we jumped and landed right here. And I asked you to label that point B. So we started at 3, 5, and now we're at 3, negative 5. We reflected, we jumped over our x-axis, the same distance on both sides. Question 3 in our example is asking, what is the distance between negative 4, 2 and point A? To calculate distance, remember it's always going to be positive. So all you have to do is count the bunny hops, count the spaces between the 2 points. And we've kind of already done that, so I'm just going to trace over them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it takes me 8 spaces to get from -4, 2 to point A. The number 4 is asking the same question. What is the distance between 3, 5 and point B? So that new point that we did, 3, 5 to point B. Same thing. We're counting how many spaces it takes to get from here to here. So I've already kind of done the bunny hop, so let's just trace over it and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it takes 10 spaces to get from this point to point B. And that is the distance between the two. So that is how you reflect points over an axis. And it's also how you find the distance between 2 points on a coordinate